So good afternoon. Great to have you all here. The scanning is still going on there, but let's get this conversation started. My name is Wijn. I'm the CEO of Trunkrs, and I want to talk to you today about how logistics can really help you to make the business successful in many ways. But before we dive into that, a bit about Trunkrs. Trunkrs is a last mile delivery company really focused in servicing some companies that are really working for the ultimate customer experience. We have a delivery service with really late cutoffs so that you can deliver the day after it has been ordered. We have a super high reliability, over 99% on time, ambition to be emission free at the end of 2024, and really hard working on getting the customers as happy as possible. And that's not only by making our customers happy, it's especially also by making your customers happy. And that works pretty well, actually. I think there are no other delivery carriers in the Netherlands, but maybe not even in Europe, that have such high reviews. And that is something that we are really proud of, and that's also really what makes us apart, sets us apart of the other delivery carriers. Now, this is definitely something that we want to talk about with you guys. Of course, how did we get to that kind of rating, right? I think the difference really is that we have learned that logistics is not just operational excellence, it's really also by making people feel cared for. Care is something that is really in the DNA of the company, and we really feel that e-commerce is a super important movement in the world, that it is something that brings freedom, accessibility, availability, and that we want to contribute to that. And by doing that, we can really make things better in the world for each other. So we work for the customers, we work for the customers of our customers, and we really care about making them super happy. And that translates to the Trustpilot scores. And that score is also translated to the scores that our customers receive, and that in the end natuurlijk is really important. Because this talk is not about us, it's about you. And it's about how you can deliver eventually your brand. How you can make sure that the delivery experience that you have is something that's really nice for your consumer, because that delivery part is a really important part of the customer journey that your consumer has with you. Now, if you look at it, the customer happiness is often something that is a bit undervalued in logistics. Obviously, we are all working to that, but in the end, also, if you look at how you are being targeted as a logistics person in the company, it's often on cost. How much can you drive your cost down? How far can you get your efficiency up? But there's way more to it. If you really want to win the race, if you really want to win the hearts and the minds of your customers, you have to do better than just that. And if you do so, you can really win. Now, how is that important? If you look at the customer journey of a regular consumer, and someone is searching something on Google or whatever, walks into an ad of your company, clicks on it, comes on your website, starts to get interested, does a product selection, eventually gets to the checkout. And from the point of the checkout already, the delivery options are crucial in eventually making the sale. Is this customer really going to buy, or is he going to leave the checkout? And that's for a large part also due to the delivery options. Then the delivery itself happens. This is where the virtual process, the online process, becomes physical. This is, in the experience of the total customer journey, a super important moment. Because that's when it gets real, and you all have seen the examples, probably also from your own website, of unboxing and stuff. This is really the moment that is really determining for how happy people are with what you are delivering, and eventually you have this customer receiving the package. Now, you see that in this whole customer journey, a really large part of how people that experience is in the delivery itself. So that's a really important aspect to take in mind. It's not just the money that you spend, it's really determining in the customer journey how the experience is seen. And this is often overlooked. Often it's more about cost, efficiency, how can we get it there? You want a fill rate of no more than X? No, this is really about making your customers happy. And that directly influences your conversion and also your loyalty of your customers, the relationship that you build with your customers. And in the end, it determines also it has a big impact on the top, not only on the cost, but also on how much you can sell. Now, a bit more numbers about that, because this is something that we often don't take the time to look at, but it's super important. 30% of the reviews of an average web shop is about the delivery. This is if you look at how much money is invested in delivery by companies versus the marketing, the branding, the investments that you do in getting as good as possible service, the perfect web shop, 30% of everything that is said about your company by your customers is about the delivery. This is really a lot, and it's important because 9 out of 10 customers first go to the reviews before they decide if they trust you and want to buy with you. So 30% of those reviews are determined by the delivery experience that your customers have. Now, another important aspect is the speed with which you deliver. It's not the same for every web shop, but in general, research shows that if you have a delivery period, at least in the Netherlands, of let's say 3 to 4 days, if you can speed it up to same day, that the conversion and checkout goes up with 40%. That's significant. That's worth something. So you're spending a lot of money in marketing, but actually what you could do is deliver a better service, a speedier service, sell more, have a better customer experience, and having the same result in conversion. Another thing is, this experience is so important that it also determines if people are coming back to you. So if it's good, 60% will consider coming back to you and do other purchases in your web shop. But if it goes wrong, if anything goes wrong in the delivery, even if you're not delivering yourself, you will be held accountable by your customer, not only in the reviews that they post, but also in the decision to come back to you or not. So this is really a costly thing. So maybe you'll save a bit on the purchase price of the tariff of one parcel delivery, but it will cost you a lot in losing customers that would have come back to you. Now, what can you then do to make sure that you deliver in such a way that the experience for the customer is super nice? Now, first of all, you need to know what is important. And we have picked out the 3 things, but there's way more to say about what's important. And also, it's not the same for all companies. So if you're Zeeman, your customers will have a really different expectation from you than when you're Nike, for example. If someone is buying it cheap, they maybe even want a slower experience. But if you're Nike, yeah, you just do it. You're young, you're fast. You have to deliver same day. It has to connect with the brand. But in general, you could say that in the Netherlands, it was more or less okay to be delivering in a 3 to 5 day time frame. But now you should deliver next day, and it's possible, and it's a choice if you do it or not, and the customer knows it, and if you don't, it's also something telling about how important his or her experience is for you as a web shop. Half of the customers already, half of the consumers, are more focused on sustainability than they have been ever before. This is an important topic. It's huge in the world. We have been talking about it for a long period, but if you can deliver in a sustainable way, and tell about it, it makes a difference in if people will choose your shop. And it sounds really basic, but just a reliable service. So when they say they will come, that they actually come, preferably also in the time frame that was promised. It's super important for customers. People don't want to build their schedule around the receiving of a package. You have to make sure that if you are at home waiting for the package, that it's going to be delivered, because you don't want to be waiting there and then not receiving the package. It's just a really bad experience. So these are things that are really basics. There's a lot more to say about it, but you have to take this kind of things into consideration, because caring about this delivery experience, it really pays off in your increased conversion and in your customer loyalty. So it helps to drive your revenue. Well, we have some examples just of how you can work with it. First of all, we thought Nespresso, it's a long-time customer of ours. It's like, I think all of you know it, but I also have this always. And you take your coffee, every morning you wake up and you take your coffee, and then suddenly there's one morning you find out that the coffee is, that you're out of coffee. And this is not a good moment. You don't want to be out of coffee, right? And it's just also not something that you plan ahead for a long time. At least I don't. Many people don't. So as long as possible during the day, you want to be able to say, all right, if you're out of coffee, we'll make sure that tonight you'll have new coffee. So tomorrow we'll be okay again. And that's definitely one of the reasons that Nespresso started working with us. It's an experience that has to be as good as in the boutique. It's really a brand, really building the club, the feeling of exclusivity. They have to be there for the customer, and they do it by delivering really fast. Another example is, for example, AMAC. A lot of people are a bit hesitant in buying more expensive stuff online, because what happens if it gets lost or stolen or whatever that people can think about what's happening during the transit period. And that's also obviously for AMAC themselves a really important thing. Now, high value has a tendency of being theft sensitive, so you really want to make sure that you deliver to the person that it's meant for. So here, for example, we developed a one-time PIN, and that's really something that is really highly appreciated by the consumer, that only the one with the PIN code can receive the parcel. It's small details, but it really makes them feel way more secure about receiving the package and knowing that it will be okay. And another really nice example is Secret. They are really into sustainability, like us. I mean, I didn't tell that, but as Trunkrs, we don't add any assets, we don't have any depots, we don't have any vans. We work together with organizations in the country that already have that in place, and together they're one really reliable network. But we don't add assets, and they are really also super conscious about how many assets and what type of assets they use. It's modular, so if anything breaks down, you can replace it. Sustainability for their customers also super important. So they really decided also to work with Trunkrs as a company that's now also like CO2 neutral in terms of compensation for everything that's not fully electric yet, but really hard on the way also to be delivering electric. And that's also what's being communicated to the customers to also give them the feeling that the service that's used in the delivery matches the brand values of them as a webshop. I think that's a really, really important thing. That's something that every webshop can do. Think about what is the brand values that we have, what is our story to our consumers, and what kind of delivery service really matches that same experience. Because you have a choice, like 5 years ago, maybe not. You just had a few carriers that more or less did the same. But that's not the case anymore. You can choose for a PostNL for the standard delivery services. You have Bringley in the cities for really quick from a shop. You have a Trunkrs that really into sustainability and more the premium feeling. You have a choice in reliability, in speed, in sustainability, and in the end, in experience. And that's something that I really try to convey here, the importance of the experience, how it's going to help you to build your revenue and your experience so that you eventually can win the battle with your fellow web shops. So that's the story that I wanted to tell here. Really curious to hear if there's any kind of questions about this. So, yes.
Yeah, so what kind of products do you see mainly in your network? So what do you recommend, let's say, of, I don't know, is it high luxury goods, which you see mainly in your network, or shirts, or coffee as example? But you probably know that there are more kind of products.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Okay, now I'm going to put this off again because it's really weird to hear yourself talking through the... So, definitely. What we see is a lot of our customers ship food, for example. If you ship food, the delivery at a really high reliability is extremely important, because if you don't deliver, it gets spoiled. What you also see is a lot of fashion. It's more it's not the cheapest kind of fashion. It's really the fashion where the brands that are shipping is also really involved in thinking about their brand, how they want to position themselves, and basically it's just like I said, if your brand values are that you focus on a young public, that it looks good, that it's maybe somewhat more valuable, then you do want to use a company like ours. That kind of companies we see a lot. You see some high value. So
So, thanks for the answer. Nice,
no
very
problem, Sander. So
helpful. So, in terms of experience, you just explained about the experience. So, people, so there's a higher, a recur. So, the customer that already bought,
yep.
after a high experience, they will buy again. So, do you have a kind of number? So, how many times do you see that the merchant is coming back, buying because they have a good experience at that shop?
That really differs per shop. Obviously, it's a good question. It also depends of the type of product. Obviously, what we do see is that, and it can be because the target group of the people of the web shops that work with us is more or less similar. Often a somewhat younger public and somewhat higher income. That we see that many of our customers are of the consumers that eventually get delivered with Trunkrs. Shop at the same web shops that we are working for. But eventually, for each web shop, it differs on the type of products that they sell. For example, what I said, we have a lot of food. There's a lot of repetitive customers there. And especially also there, you really don't want it to go bad, because if it's bad, it's spoiled. And yeah, so taking it off again. It's really weird to hear yourself talking here. Any other questions?
My name is Miriam.
Sorry.
My name is Miriam. I'm from Norway Post, Glow Technology. I was wondering, I'm a consumer. At what time do I get information about the parcel coming to me? And how precise is it?
Yeah, so during when you ordered, so at the day that we will receiving and delivering the parcel, something happened there. I don't know. Doesn't matter. At the day, we around 2 o'clock we have made the planning. So each day we make the most optimized planning for that day. So all those deliveries will be divided over the tours, and then we know the time. We give a time frame of 2 hours. So at 2 o'clock we'll be telling you, okay, between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the evening we will be there. Then the tour starts and we become more certain about the exact time that we will be delivering, and the window shrinks. So the final window is a window of 20 minutes, so it shrinks to 20 minutes. So the closer we get, but that will remain within that 2 hour time frame. So we make sure that we are as precise as we can be, but we don't promise something that we will not be able to deliver. So an alternative will be shifting time frames, right? That's also something that you see a lot. Our experience is that customers are really not happy with that. They really, preferably you tell something and then, yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? No more questions? Then, here.
Hi, I'm Nihar. I come from.
I come somewhat closer, but it doesn't work.
Okay. Hi, I am representing Nike over here. One of the things I read is that you pride yourself in.
Let me check if this one works. Sorry, I couldn't hear. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I read is that you say a customer can change the time and place where they want to deliver quite late in the journey as well.
Yeah.
So how late is it, and how do you manage that?
Well, it differs. If you look at our process, so till 1 o'clock you can change everywhere. So you could even change from Groningen to Maastricht. After that, we already know that it will be in the region of Groningen. So we'll be going there. And you can still change from the city of Groningen to a village like 10 miles, because it's in the same region. Once we have designed the tour, then on that tour we can still make changes until like 1 minute before the driver is there. You can still change to a few blocks away, but in a smaller environment. So we try to give as much freedom to change, But the closer we get, the less space there is for changes in the procedure. But till we arrive at the door, basically, you can still make a change and say, okay, please don't deliver it to me, but 2 blocks away to a neighbor that I know. Yeah. Thanks. Any other questions? Then I want to thank you all for coming. Really nice to have you here. If there is any new questions coming up, I'll be at the bar having some drinks. But always, willing to answer some more questions. So, thank you.